Stacked cuff earrings are so fun to mix, match, and wear, and they're really trendy right now. They're so unique to sell or gift. I think you're going to love them. Hi, I'm Patti. I am a jewelry designer here from Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Jewelry Studio, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these wonderful cuff earrings with an attached ear threader.
Get our email newsletter for beading news, sale announcements, new product announcements, and more. Link is in the description below.
All right, let's go ahead and start making the ear cuff. So you can see that we have several different elements here. We have the wire that makes the cuff. We have a jump ring there attached to the cuff, 2 dangles, and this ear threader that's been embellished. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and make the cuff. We're going to be using 20 gauge gold-filled wire, and I'm going to cut off about 3 inches of wire. We won't use quite that much, but for this demonstration, I want to have enough. So we'll just cut it right there. All right, so what I'm going to do is start with my wire wrapping pliers. These are really handy when you're doing any kind of wire work. They have 3 different barrels here that will give you a different size loop. I'm going to use the smallest barrel at the tip here. And I'm just going to put that in the center of the wire. And this side is cushioned so it doesn't mar your wire. And I'm just going to go off center just the tiniest bit, just like that. And then I'm just going to push it around the barrel so the wire ends up parallel like that. And you can see how that's kind of the beginning of the cuff. Then I'm going to put it back on the second barrel there, and I'm going to turn it a little bit, and I'm going to make the beginning of the curve. Okay? And then in the bottom here, I'm going to start to make that loop that we're going to attach the ear threader and the dangles too. So we're just using the very tip of your round nose pliers, going around that and just making that little loop. And then I'll use my chain nose pliers to just kind of straighten everything out. So we want these wires to really remain parallel, so you just have to do a little of adjusting here and there. That looks pretty good, and I want that loop to be kind of facing downwards, so I'll turn it that way. Just make it as nice and straight as you can. Let me fix that. Okay, that's how we want it to look. Okay, so you're going to end up with a little curved section, the loop on one side, and then these wires coming out straight. I'm going to put that back on the center barrel here and kind of just go around until the wires kind of meet the curve on the other end. I want them to be about the same. Just make a little adjustments if you need to. Whenever you're doing wire work, just take your time. The more time that you take, the better it's going to turn out. Okay, so we have this nice little cuff shape. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to put it on the outside. And we just want to leave a little space between this end of the cuff and this end of the cuff. So I'm just going to make a little loop here to finish off this side of the wire, right around my round nose plier. And I can even cut it off while it's on the plier, like that. Makes it really nice and neat. And then I'm going to take my chain nose plier and just make sure that the end of that wire is tucked in against itself. We don't want anything loose. Might even use the round nose to do that. There we go. A nice complete loop. And on the other side, we'll do the same thing. So you want it just underneath the original. And you're just going to push that wire around and make your second loop. And again, you can cut that off when it's right on the plier. It's a little bit easier than taking it apart. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my chain nose plier and just kind of straighten that out. And then I'll grab my round nose and just kind of round that loop so the wire touches. So we've got a complete loop on either side. Then just do a little adjusting, whatever you need to do. All right, so then you have your cuff all ready to go. Now that we've made the cuff, let's look at making the other elements in this piece. There's an ear threader that has been embellished with some dangles here, and there's also 2 side dangles over here. The dangles are made out of 30 gauge gold-filled wire and these wonderful tourmaline mini cubes. They're just 2 millimeters. They're super tiny and super elegant. So let me go ahead and show you how to make this kind of a dangle. Cut several inches of the 30 gauge gold-filled wire. Don't need too much. And we'll choose one of these little tourmaline cubes. I think I'm going to put it right in there and let it fall onto my wire just like that. Then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and about, I don't know, inch from the bottom or so, I'm going to make a 90-degree bend. Then just a millimeter from that, I'm going to make another 90-degree bend up. And we'll let the cube fall down in that valley. So we've got our little tourmaline cube down in the little valley that this wire has created. And then I'm going to kind of pinch that cube and push this little wire against the top of the cube. So it's right like that. And then we're going to wrap that around a couple of times. I'm just going to grab a pair of pliers here. And we're wrapping this shorter tail around the longer tail right above that cube. I might grab the longer wire here and just kind of pull with my fingers. It's such a tiny, very malleable wire. Okay, and once it's wrapped enough that it's secure, I'm going to go ahead and snip off the shorter tail. And so we've got this cube on a long tail. Then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and just above the cube, just a couple of millimeters, I'm going to make a 90-degree bend. Like that. And then we're going to make a loop at that top of that bend. And I'm just going to bring the wire around the barrel of those round nose pliers that I'm using. And then I'm going to put that bottom barrel back in and bring it around more. So we have this little, looks like a little lollipop on a stick right above that cube. And we're going to go ahead and embellish the threader. You can see that this original threader has these wonderful cube dangles embellishing it. That's what we're making now. So just a little bit down from the loop on the threader, we're going to put that first dangle. So there's the threader, just like that. So this one is going to go just a little bit down, maybe a 1/4 inch down from that loop. So what I'm going to do is take the end of the wire tail, and put it through one of the loops about a 1/4 inch down, and let that chain fall into the loop that I've created here. So the chain is falling from that loop. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to grab that loop and really hold it tight with my chain nose plier. Then I'll take my round nose plier or another pair, doesn't matter really what kind. And I'm going to start to wrap from the loop all the way down over that original wrap right on the top of the cube. And then we'll go ahead and take the flush cutters and cut off the rest of that tail. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my bent chain nose pliers and get in there and just make sure that that tail is tucked in so there's nothing pokey. And so there we have the first dangle on the ear threader. And we're just going to make a bunch more dangles the exact same way until it's embellished as far down as you want it to go. I only embellished it about 2/3 of the way. I wanted to leave a little extra space here that kind of curves back up when you put the threader through your ear. I have one already finished with all of the dangles, and we've got some chain that matches the threader chain really, really well. It's just very small cable chain. And you're going to cut a couple of pieces of that. Let me kind of put this out of the way. I'll put the ruler up here. And for this, I did one that was 1/2 inch. So you'll measure 1/2 inch of chain and cut that. And then there was another one that was 3/4 inch. So we'll do 3/4 inch of chain and cut that. And so those are ready for dangles. And then you're going to make dangles just like we did here for the ear threader, but use 2 or 3 cubes in the very same manner. Okay, now that we have all the components made, all we have to do is put them together with this jump ring. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the jump ring with my chain nose pliers, orient the little opening upward, and we'll open that up sideways. And then I want to just kind of grab the tip of the jump ring with my bent chain nose there. And I'm going to put the cuff on. And then we'll put the longer dangle. Just the very end of the chain goes on the jump ring. And then the shorter dangle. Same thing, just the end of the chain. And then the loop on the threader. Okay, going to make sure they're all falling nicely, and they are. So then I'll go ahead and close up the jump ring, nice and tight. And there you have your gorgeous Embellish ear threader ear cuff. Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely love it. I hope that you've enjoyed learning to make this wonderful cuff earring with the attached ear threader. If you make your own cuff earrings or stacked earrings, we would love to see what you do. Be sure and tag us. We'd love to see what you would get up to creatively. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and sign up for our email newsletter. The link to that and to the materials in this piece are in the description box below. Thank you so much for being with me here today, and I'll see you next time.